Hello.
Hey,
We're back.
we are.
And today we're talking about
Dune.
part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2!
Not to be mistaken with sand fascists and sand penises.
I mean, they're there.
Mm.
They're just not, they're mentioned, but they're not explicitly mentioned. Yes, Dune is so weird because it's basically like a bunch of people who are just high 24/7,
Pretty much.
right?
They're high on worm poo.
Yeah.
Is it worm poo? Also, anyway,
It's like the worms create it.
Stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. And yeah, it's such a trippy series. But Dune 2, I finally went and saw Dune.
Yeah. Finally.
So I thought that we would talk about what we liked.
Mhm. Well, it's kind of the second time we've done a you can not review, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like, I feel like my mic is really loud. Here we go. Okay. So talk about a little bit about what we liked,
Mhm.
what we didn't like,
Mhm.
what we thoughts in general.
Yeah.
But before we get started, like and subscribe.
Please.
Because we talk about movies quite often.
Mhm.
We watch a lot of trailers.
Yep.
And we react to them. And I believe that we did do a trailer reaction to Dune 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes? And now
Definitely
that we've
did.
finally both seen it. It took me so long. It took me so long to go and see it.
We're coming full circle. Yeah, it did, right?
It really did.
I was like,
'Cause
hearing that from you.
It was
Like,
released March
I gotta see it.
15th,
I gotta
right?
Yeah.
And I had just been busy like every single weekend since
Mhm.
then. And so I took an afternoon off of work.
Yep.
And I went to go see
I took the morning off. See, I made time, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it kind of just happened that way, right? It's like, no, got to do it.
It's a long movie.
It is.
It's 3 hours long.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a commitment.
Mhm.
You know, you can't just on a whim, willy-nilly go and see it. Because now it's only playing, as of the time of our recording in April, mid-April, it was only playing one time slot at the theaters.
Yeah.
It used to be 3, right?
Yep, yep.
And now Oppenheimer's coming, so Oppenheimer is sort of taking that 3 showing
Oh, okay. Yeah.
slot.
Mhm.
So I was able to find a theater that thankfully was playing at like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
So I had enough time
yeah.
to get from work to the theater, buy my ticket. Me and 5 other people sitting and watching Dune. It was great. So first, what did you like about Dune?
Well, wow, there's a big list.
Well, how about we start with what you didn't like?
Okay, because that is a very short list.
That's why
And maybe I'll
start
just
with that.
be stupid and agree with Anakin Skywalker and go, the sand, it's really annoying, gets everywhere, it's coarse. You know what? The only thing I really didn't like about this is the fact that we have to wait a long time for a third one.
Yeah.
That is what I didn't like about it. I have to go back straight into what I liked because there's not much.
Well,
Some people will say it was a long movie.
it was
I
long.
felt the length,
Yeah.
but to be honest, for me, it felt right.
Mhm.
The right amount of time passed. Because there are some movies that can really drag.
Yeah.
For me, it didn't feel like that.
And
I
if you're
felt the
dragging
time,
a
but it's like,
3-hour movie,
oh, yeah.
that's rough.
Mhm,
That's kind of like how I felt watching Rebel Moon.
I was thinking about that. Which the second one out it's coming out in a few
It
days.
should be coming out soon, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll watch it. Yeah.
I might fast forward through a bunch of it.
Denis Villeneuve, he did the same. Like the first one was long too.
Yeah.
Felt right.
Yeah.
When he did Blade Runner as well, that was a long one too. But he gets it right. I don't know if he's just really good with the way he knows how to pace things.
I think it's the pacing for sure, especially for this film. It felt very well paced.
Mhm,
I didn't feel bored at
Yeah.
any point.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the urge to check my phone at any point. One thing though, I'm sort of the same with you. There's not much that I disliked about this movie.
No, I'm really trying to dig. So I don't know if you've got something, it might even help me.
I have one thing that not disliked, but I was like kind of curious about was the languages.
Yeah.
So they have the Fremen language,
Mhm.
the Harkonnen language,
Yeah.
and then English,
Mhm.
right? And so when you see Timothy Chalamet, who my new favorite way to pronounce it is Timothée Chalamet.
Timothy.
Because it's not Timothy, it's Timothée. Timothée Chalamet.
Where did you get that one from? Did
I
you
got
make that one up?
no, I got that from a podcast. I got that from the Bald and the Beautiful podcast. Timothée Chalamet, so good. So when he is addressing the Fremen,
Yeah.
when he's like, I'm proclaiming that I'm your Messiah, basically.
Yeah.
he speaks at first in English,
Mhm.
and then he switches to the Fremen language, and then he kind of switches back to English and kind of mixes them a lot.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, if you are proclaiming to these people that you are their white savior,
Mhm.
wouldn't you want to use the language throughout for the whole speech?
Yeah, I guess
You
so.
know,
Mm.
so sometimes Lady Jessica as well, so Rebecca Ferguson,
Yeah.
Lady Jessica, when she would speak to the Fremen,
Mhm.
I think her character did a little bit of a better job switching between Fremen and English. So when she was speaking
Yeah,
to the
I can see what you
Fremen, like
mean.
when
Yep.
she was watching them make the water of life,
Yeah.
when she spoke to the Fremen woman there, she spoke in Fremen, and
Mhm.
then when she was speaking to her daughter, her unborn daughter,
Yep.
she spoke
She's
in
speaking
English.
English, yeah.
So I liked how that worked, but I didn't quite understand Timothee's logic switching back and forth with English
I
and
can see.
Fremen.
Some people might see that as nitpicking, but if you notice, so Rachel does a lot of translation work as well, so I can
Yeah.
see why
So
that's probably a
linguistically,
nitpick for you. Like, it's, yeah,
I mean, it
I can
just
get
kind
you.
of was like, it wasn't like, that's weird, ew, but it was just like,
Just a little bit of
I wonder why they made that choice.
yeah.
Was kind of more my gripe with it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, other than
Speaking of
that,
Lady Jessica, though, when she talks, and this is any spoilers, but when she uses the voice,
yeah.
damn, it was like, actually, even Timothée,
Timotei.
I just like that. Actually, talking about voices and sounds too, the first second of the opening, and I
Oh,
think it's like the Sardaukar talking and the spice must flow kind of thing. There's that sound. And I went to see an IMAX, the big sound, and it just went that quote in that Sardaukar voice. And I was just like, wow.
Is that the Sardaukar language? I kept wondering what it was. I
Yeah,
was like,
it had me. It sounded like a little bit robotic at the same time.
I was like, maybe it's I thought personally it might have been like, like the pilots that are like so hot them on spices and not human anymore.
Yeah,
Which you see in the other film,
I'm
the
gonna have to
David Lynch
double
version.
check that because
I was
someone
like,
mentioned it was Sardaukar, like when they were doing that ritual.
yeah.
But you might be right.
I was like, I don't know, maybe, but I have no idea, honestly.
I'll do a bit of research and maybe pop it up here. If there is nothing here, I didn't do it. Anyway, but yeah, just that sound was like really.
It throws you into the
yeah.
world.
Exactly.
It
yeah.
really, like, off the bat, it puts
Just
you in
that
the
few
world.
seconds, and it's not even an image, just a sound,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
That's
sure.
really, really cool. Wow. What else?
What did you like?
What did I like?
Let's start.
I love the feeling that again, I'm going back to the director. He makes things big and epic and feel real.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like stuff has been happening for a long time in this
Mhm.
universe. You know what I really did like?
What?
Is it Gady Prime?
Yeah,
The scene that was done all in, which we thought was just color
Harkonnen
grading
planet,
last time we
yeah.
talked about it, and then it was all shot in infrared
Infrared.
because apparently they've got a black sun, and I really liked that segment
You
of
know
the
what I
movie.
really loved about that bit of the movie?
What?
The fireworks. How they look
is
like
it like
blood splatters.
right?
Because they're such a violent people. So the director's like, why would they have regular fireworks? Why would they
No,
have weird ink
Bloodworks.
blood splatter?
Yeah.
And the thing about infrared,
Hmm.
and I was reading about this on probably Screen Rant.
Yeah.
Shout out to Screen Rant. Screen Rant was writing about how the decision came to, okay, well, we can film it in infrared because they have the black sun.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something different with the light. But once you film in infrared, you can't color grade the color back in.
Yes.
So it's a huge gamble
Mm-hmm.
to film in infrared. And it just paid off so well because
right?
it's such a stark contrast to Arrakis.
Mm-hmm.
And like the orange, the gold, the yellows, the like muted earth tones.
Yeah.
And then you get this very black and white world.
Like really black and white, right? Like there's something like you can say when things are filmed in black and white. This just had a distinct look, and it's like, this is a black and white I kind of haven't seen
It's kind
before.
of soft
Me personally.
in a way.
Yeah, the edges are kind of soft on that, but
yeah.
at the same time, still a lot of detail.
Oh, extremely.
Like it was something different. I thought that was something I really liked about it. God, what else did I like about it?
Talking about the Harkonnen planet, can we talk about Miss Austintina Butler playing Fade Rotha?
Mm.
Because, oh my God, So good.
Did you call him Miss?
Yeah, Miss Austintina Butler.
Wait.
Miss Austintina, she ate that whole thing up.
Why is it she? I'm missing something totally.
It's like an inside joke thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Austin Butler.
Ripped it. I'm gonna go as far as to say that
one of the best characters in the film.
Yeah.
One of the best. Hands down.
Yeah.
From the first 2 seconds he's introduced, he doesn't say a thing and you know exactly who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Psychotic.
Yeah.
Like not an idiot, but psychotic.
No. He's just not right in the head.
And just the way that we need to really give it up for the makeup team and the prosthetic team.
Oh, yeah.
That I feel like every single person on the Harkonnen planet who's like a Harkonnen, Harkonnenian, they're all like the shaved head, the smooth skin, they look very like distinctive, and that's all the work of this amazing like the makeup and prosthetic team of Dune 2. You absolutely snapped. Way to go.
You made basically doesn't ruin any scenes, but there's that scene when the nephew's getting like his uncle's putting the thing around him and everyone's clapping and that, and I just went, wow, this is like gothic North Korea, because the way they were like and all in unison.
Basically,
was like, oh wow.
And it just, the way that like Austin Butler's character, I haven't really seen Austin Butler in anything else.
I have had a bit of an overload from him at the moment, and not in a bad way, because I watched recently the series Masters of the Air. Being an aviation nerd, I love that. So he was one of the main characters, and he was great in that. He's got another movie coming out soon, The Bike Riders with Tom Hardy. So he's doing the rounds at the moment. He killed it though in Dune. That was just
insane. Like I have to say, this time around, I feel like the side characters were a little bit more interesting than Timothée and Zendaya. I mean, I know we have to have a love story, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was way more vested in Feyd-Rautha and Lady Jessica the entire film. And just Austin Butler killed. He did so just incredible.
He did great.
Like he's got this like face that's it's almost childlike because they've taken away like the eyebrows. Like his face is very smooth.
What a difference no hair and no eyebrows makes, right?
He's just got this like pouty look. So he doesn't look, upon first glance, doesn't look super like deadly or powerful.
Yeah. Not like his brother, right?
No, it's his nephew. It's the Baron's nephew.
No. The other guy that was running, Dave Bautista, who plays I forget his name, the big guy.
Gurney?
Because you got the Harkonnen Duke.
Let's see what's on her.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista plays
He's
Glossu Raban.
the guy that was in charge before, and then...
Are they related?
Yeah, I think they're brothers.
Yeah.
Not in real life, in the Dune universe.
Older brother of Feyd-Rautha.
Yeah, there you go.
And the nephew of Baron Harkonnen.
Very different people too. I mean, they're both psychotic, but in their own ways. Like one's just a rage pit bull.
Exactly. That would be Raban.
Yep.
The pit bull.
Yep.
And then Austin Butler's kind of the calculating
psychotic killer.
Psychotic, like absolutely lost the plot, but still very sharp.
Yeah.
And just that opening scene where you see him, he doesn't have to say one word, and you just know, you know who he is, and that's really a tribute to a good movie where you don't have to tell, and you can show. I think there was a lot of showing in this film.
There was,
as opposed to like telling. I didn't feel like expositioned to death. I think in the first one they had to do a little bit more of the exposition heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So that this one didn't really have to do a lot of exposition. For sure.
But wow. Anything else you can think of that you really...
The costumes. We need to shout out to the costume designer. I looked her up because amazing.
Anyone in particular?
Miss Jacqueline West, costume designer. So this is an article on Variety talking about the inspirations that Miss West took when she was designing the costumes, because there were a lot of really strong female characters this time. Princess Irulan. Lady Jessica, and Chani. Yeah. Chani really featured heavily in this film, which made me really happy because I love Zendaya. So Jacqueline West used the help of local artisans in Budapest,
Mhm.
jewelry makers in the Middle East, and also used inspiration from 1920s Tiffany jewelry, Balenciaga, and haute couture.
I could see the 1920s influence. Yeah,
Right?
with is it the princesses?
Princess
Yeah,
ɪṛᴏᴜ.
yeah.
So with Princess ɪṛᴏᴜ, she's Bene Gesserit,
Mhm.
right? So she's a nun, but she's also the daughter of the
The
emperor
yeah.
of the universe,
Mm.
right? So she can't be like super like flashy or showy.
Yeah.
So royal and luxurious, but she's also a nun.
Mhm, mhm.
So when she was costuming her, this is from the article, West used medieval references, particularly in her headdress.
Mhm.
So she recounted how nuns' faces seemed constrained by their habits, so I did a lot of headdresses, and she used a lot of hand beaded jewelry
Yep.
to accent it. You can really tell with the last outfit that she comes out in, which is like the
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
chainmail,
Yeah.
the
She
chainmail
has
look.
her face covered at one stage, but then, yeah. No,
Right,
yeah,
because she
looks
looks very regal, but also she's still someone who like wants to fight for what's
Mhm.
right.
Yep, yep.
And then when it came to Lady Jessica, who Lady Jessica's makeup as well, with all the writing all
Yep.
over her face,
I was
so good.
Not just Lady Jessica, even her entourage. Did you
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
like,
yeah. The
the...
Bene Gesserit entourage.
Yeah, like,
They really snapped on the makeup.
like, you got the, dare I say, like, the main Bene Gesserit.
Yeah.
They're kind of, looks very, kind of a classic look.
Yeah, with like the black and...
But these guys, a bit more colourful, and the headdresses were... Everyone seemed kind of different.
Yeah, because
yeah.
these... So Lady Jessica and her entourage kind of took inspiration from Moroccan culture with layers of linen and gauze,
Mhm.
because they're trying to repel the sun,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they live in the desert.
Mhm.
So they had a lot of jewelry that they used that took a lot of inspiration from the Middle East and North Africa.
Mhm.
And she just looks so incredibly like beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, they did such a good job with doing the makeup and the costuming. And the costuming, the first one was also immaculate.
Mhm, mhm.
And then for
No, they just
Chani,
kept going from there, really.
right?
Yeah.
So for Chani, because so Zendaya is a model.
Mm.
She looks good no matter what she wears, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But do you remember how she used like a silk like hair tie?
Yeah, yeah,
And then they would also sort of like tie it around her sleeve so you could sort of tell who she was in the action.
yeah.
But also it's sort of like it gave her a little bit of femininity
Mm,
because she's not the most feminine character.
No,
Because
definitely not.
she's a fighter.
Yeah.
She's part of the Fedaykin.
Mm.
But she tries to use fabric like that to give her a little bit more feminine edge.
Yeah, yeah.
And then do you remember Margot Fenring?
Rings a bell. Why?
Leia Seydoux plays her. She's on the Harkonnen planet and she seduces
yeah.
Feyd-Rautha.
Yeah, yeah.
So for her look, it's very like futuristic,
Mhm.
royal, very like very sort of luxurious.
Mhm.
And she was inspired by Balenciaga as well as inspiration from Paris runways in the 1950s. So
It's interesting how they've done that too. Like, I find Dune, when you look at any of the planets, right?
Mhm.
That feeling of, this is like supposed to be like really far in the future,
yeah,
but still has this old feel to it. You know what I mean? At the same time, like an ancient kind of feel.
yeah,
And that's another thing that I really like about that clash for me. It's just like when you sit down and things like, hang on, this is gonna, if it was to happen, it's like thousands and thousands. You know, Earth kind of doesn't exist anymore.
yeah.
Computers don't exist for a reason
Mhm.
because of AI. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, it's
And
just
they really just sort of, I mean, Villeneuve has this ability to create these larger than life worlds on the screen that you really get wrapped up in.
Yeah.
And I think what kind of hit me really hard this go around is just how much it felt like what was happening was actually going on right before my very eyes.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like I was sitting in a movie theater. Like I felt like I was like there on the planet with them.
Yeah.
Kind of like living through it with them. And I think another thing that they really did well, aside from the costume and the makeup and everything else, was the music.
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer, an amazing composer, has done so many soundtracks. Some of my favorite soundtracks are by Hans Zimmer. And the way that he's built tension with the music. Because if you listen to the soundtrack as a standalone, It's almost like some of it is very, very quiet.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets a little more discordant.
Mhm.
And then some of the pieces are almost like noise,
Mm.
like for the stuff that happened on like the Harkonnen planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the way that they've sort of combined all of that just made it this like larger than life experience that was just so like this is what cinema is.
They just did it all right. You got the cast,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the look, like it's a visual feast.
Yeah.
And the music, the sound. Amazing.
And then you've got the story.
Yeah.
In which, you know, Paul becomes this dark messianic figure.
Mm.
And the way that they were able to portray that, not only with like his costume, with the way that he speaks, but also when they have that scene of him walking into the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd is facing him and he's walking toward them, and they kind of, it's not like the parting of the Red Sea, but kind of where he's like the only figure in black.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had like the sandworms in the background. He has like the
That
cloak.
was a top shot. Yeah. Like it's reminiscent of a like a massive whale breaking the surface and then just going back
that's
in.
what I thought.
And then I just thought, oh, that's cool.
Did you notice any other similarities between him walking with the sort of cowl cape fluttering in the background and another very classic film?
No, but I did get another image, and it's more of a Japanese anime image.
Yeah, which is
Hokuto no Ken. Kenshiro walking through the desert with the cape and just saying, who's also a ripoff of Mad Max. But
well, there
tell
was.
Me. Yeah.
So I was researching it, and according to Wikipedia, so Villeneuve, his inspiration for the dark messianic figure was Akira.
Yes.
You know, with the cowl and how that sort of flows and how he becomes a darker figure.
I was kind of on the track. It's Japanese anime.
I was like, oh my God, I think he knows.
Yeah.
But he took inspiration when he storyboarded it. That was one of his inspirations. And you can sort of see that when you see how, because it's such an iconic scene with like the way the wind is going, and then you got the sandworms in the background who look like, essentially, like you said, whales sort of jumping out. And there's a lot of really iconic scenes in this movie, and just there's so much action this time around, which is, I think, helped make that pacing go by really well. Because there are a few downtimes.
There is, but again, it doesn't feel like it goes for too long to the point where I'm out.
Yeah,
like
it's really, it just has this really wonderful way of like spacing out the action with moving the plot forward, and you have kind of a few plots going on at once, because you've got the Fedaykin, you know, Paul becomes an actual member. He gets his name, Muad'Dib.
Yep.
He's sort of welcomed into the tribe of the Fremen. And then you have, on the other hand, Lady Jessica goes to the Southern Territories to deal with the religious fanatics.
Yep.
And sort of make sure that everybody gets the rumor. And I think what really stood out for me as like a theme is sort of religion and power. Because they really changed Chani's role in this film.
Yeah.
It's very different from the books. Because in the books, Chani is just like, so at the end, spoiler alert, this whole thing is spoiler alert, but so in the end,
should have seen it by now anyway.
In the end, Timothée becomes the emperor, and he says that he's going to marry the Princess Irulan.
Yeah.
Despite being in love with Chani. And in the book, Chani kind of accepts her place as just like a concubine, and she's like, it doesn't matter, I'll be treated like a wife, because she knows it's just for strategic purposes.
Yeah.
But in the film, Chani, who the whole time's been very vocal about, we can't have a savior that's not a Fremen. Like, that's just not how it should be.
Yeah.
And she was very against Paul starting this holy war from the beginning. She's the only one that kind of like is like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then in the end, when Paul says that he's going to, well, when Princess Irulan says, I will be your willing bride.
Yeah.
She stands up and she leaves.
But that's also showing the difference of like, well, Chinese grown up in a whole different type of thing. Then you've got Timothée and the princess. Like, they've grown up in these royal families. They're brought up to also think in a different way.
Yeah.
So they're, you know, these marriages of convenience, or, you know, just to join alliances. It's nothing strange. And a lot of these people probably do have all these concubines. Well, yeah, and Chinese just like, hang on. This ain't right.
She's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really interesting move because it's like, well, so how is that going to factor into the next film? Where does she end up going off to?
Which will be interesting because I'm not one that's read the books. I really want to now, though, just to see what differences, where they kind of change things.
I mean, there's a lot of books, and I haven't read any of them, but I have Wikipedia.
I'd like to read a book.
I have just one.
Just time-wise, like it seems to me like these days, reading a book is a luxury.
It is kind of a luxury. But they're quite long. I've Wikipedia journeyed my way through all of them. They get real off the rails at the end.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Villeneuve made this choice because it's been pretty similar. One of the big differences as well for this one is in this film they have chosen just to have so Paul's little sister Alia. She in the books is already born, and she's actually the one that kills the Baron.
Right.
She's like a psychotic 2-year-old.
Yep.
And she kills the Baron,
yep.
Which they did actually feature in the David Lynch version.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it in this one. So they just sort of have they have Anya Taylor-Joy kind of come in a vision at the end to talk to Paul
for a little bit. I wonder how much she got paid for that scene.
So she also did voice work for it though too, because she did a little speaky. But yeah, I'm sure she got paid handsomely.
Yeah.
So they sort of have, little bits and differences. Chani and Paul are supposed to have a son who ends up dying, and they've cut that as well, which I understand why.
Yeah.
But with this huge difference of Chani not accepting her role, it's like, well, how is that going to factor in?
It'll be interesting to see.
To the third film.
Like I said, when we first spoke about it, like there was talk of the third one,
right?
But apparently only in the last week or so it was confirmed.
Yeah.
That he is going to work on it. Denis Villeneuve is working on it. Thank God.
Yeah.
But I think it's still going to be a while out because
for sure.
He was already working. I think with the first and the second one, it was kind of like just, rolling into the second one. We're going to keep going, which would have been exhausting.
Yeah.
But wow, what a job.
Yeah.
What's your total take on this as a movie? For me, this year's movies so far, I mean, I still haven't gone to see Furiosa, but that's my Mad Max bias. This is my number one movie so far this year.
I mean, I'm
not giving a rating.
The one thing, so there was Christopher Nolan was talking about the Dune films, and he compared them to the Star Wars films. The first one, great. Second one, even better. Third one, though, that's the tricky bit.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of people don't really like Return of the Jedi. That's the last one, right?
Okay, yeah. That's the last one.
A lot of people...
Some people say last of the good ones.
It is the last of the good ones. I'll say it, 100% last of the good ones. Some people, it just wasn't as highly regarded as the first and the second.
Yeah.
So the really difficult part, that the task at hand... Because when you look at the ratings and the reviews for the first and second Dune, the first one is like a 70-something.
Yeah.
Second one is like an 80-something.
Right.
The second one is already a little bit ahead in the game. The trick is to make the third the best of the films.
Yeah.
And that's no easy task. Really no easy task. Probably the Lord of the Rings trilogy is the only one that I can think really...
For me, yeah. So Lord of the Rings, love them all. But that was one where it's like, every part seemed to get more epic and bigger and bigger. And I was like, wow. Yeah.
So I'm hoping with Dune.
If they can pull that off.
If Villeneuve and his incredible cast can pull it off.
I got faith in Denny.
I do too. I do too. I really hope that they can give it the ending it deserves, and then don't make any more. Let's just stop at the trilogy. Because you know what happens when you start making more movies after the trilogy? Nothing good.
You get Star Wars we have today.
Yeah.
But Denny, I got not just as a director, but for me, he's like a sci-fi director god. If he did a 40K... Henry Cavill, King of the Nerds. Talk to
Bring
Denny.
him on. Yeah.
Let me go
Just
back
an amazing storyteller. Visually, the dialogue. I mean, everything. Like I said, the makeup, the costume, the music. just an incredible backdrop. And a lot of people, it's Dune is one of those things where if you like these epic films, you're probably gonna like it. But if you're not into them, if you're not into Star Wars, if you're not into things like that, it's
Yeah.
probably not gonna grab you by the kugels.
No,
But
we all like kugel grabbing movies. Going off topic though, because we're very on topic, off topic. We're on a sand planet, Arrakis.
yes,
Dune.
Arrakis, my Dune.
Cocktails.
Cocktails.
Sex on the Beach is a cocktail, right?
Yes.
Do you know what's in that at all?
No.
Because
Orange?
just the whole idea. Sorry if I'm offending anyone,
Hang on,
but
let me look up. what's
you
in
look at that.
Sex
But
and the
sorry if I'm
Beach.
offending anyone, but Sex on the Beach and Anakin talking about sand seems pretty annoying and not convenient. So if I was a cocktail maker and someone asked me for a Sex on the Beach,
Mhm.
I'm going to ask them, do you want Arrakis style?
Or Tatooine.
Pour into that and then just a hand of sand into the shot glasses. Boom. What do you think?
A hand of. Oh, I don't want to drink sand though. Could you?
Exactly. No, that's what you want. There's your Sex on the Beach.
Okay, look. Sex on the Beach is vodka,
Mhm.
peach schnapps,
Mhm.
2 oranges juiced,
Mhm.
plus 2 slices to garnish,
Mhm.
50 ml of cranberry juice,
Mhm.
and cherries to garnish, optional.
And Ante's Arrakis garnish,
Sand.
handful of sand.
Could you make it like instead of sand?
Mm.
Work with me here.
Okay.
There's that like sort of more coarse sugar.
Mm.
Like they've got really fine like powdered sugar, right?
I know the one you're
And
talking.
then granulated
yeah,
sugar.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
you
yeah.
have one that's like
Yeah,
the sugar
it's
you get here in
really,
Japan
like-
that's it looks kind of sandy.
Yeah, yeah.
That like kind of wet sandy.
Mhm.
What if you put some water or lemon juice around the rim of the glass and then
I'll
you
do
put
the-
it in the sugar,
Mhm.
the like brown sugar?
Yep.
And that would look like sand.
Mm.
Make it a bit more palatable.
If it's an Arrakis one though, and we don't want sand, we'll go with cinnamon.
Oh.
The spice must flow.
Yeah.
That's what they talk about.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
But it really doesn't sound appetizing. But you'd have to call it Sex on Arrakis.
Yeah.
It can't be Sex on the Beach.
I'm still picturing sand getting in all sorts of places.
I mean, isn't that why they have the still suits? To like keep them not sandy?
Yeah.
And you saw their
I
like
guess, right,
elaborate
right.
camps and stuff, right? With like the Fedaykin.
Yeah.
They have those very elaborate camps with
Mhm,
like the tents and stuff. And
Yeah.
that looks like it would be pretty good at keeping sand out.
True.
Because it's like, it's a sand planet.
Mm.
I mean, it's like a whole, like, and then you got the spice in the air.
Mhm.
So you have to imagine at the end of the day, you're just covered in grime,
Yeah.
no matter what. But like, they don't like to waste water.
Mhm.
Like, remember when Lady Jessica was like, she had like
yeah,
morning
when she was like-
sickness,
Mhm.
and they were like, don't do it,
Mhm.
don't do it, and she's like, I'm fine, I'm
Mhm.
fine, and then she loses it, and, they're like, what a waste of water.
Which now you just remind me again, no spoilers and scenes, but one thing that I really did love, that
Mhm.
opening with the Harkonnen anti-grav suits when they do the
Oh,
mountain
yeah,
climb.
that was
in
very
general,
cool.
Those anti-gravs, they go up, they go down. That's just like
But it's like the way that they went up, it's like
I could only
as if they've taken the gravity
Yeah.
down a few notches.
just not for me. It would be like I haven't dived in a long time, but it's basically like scuba diving, just in the air.
Yeah, that's
That's
kind of
exactly what it looked like. But God, we're getting back into the movie. It's like, no, guys, you know what? I feel sorry if you haven't seen it on the big screen.
Yeah, go see it on the big screen. It
If you still
definitely
can,
deserves to
Yeah.
be seen on a big screen for sure.
I really enjoyed it because I hate living in this age where I get pumped up about movies a little too much, and then I get hurt.
Yeah, Rebel Moon still really hurts.
Thanks, Denny.
Thank
You
you.
brought me back.
Good cinema. Just good cinema.
That's what we want, and that's what we love.
I mean, it's like a movie that's worth going to the theater for.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Mhm.
100%.
But yeah, I don't have much more to say on it. Otherwise, yeah.
So good.
Mhm.
So if you've seen Dune 2,
Mhm.
if you have comments, if you had bits that you really liked, maybe you had bits that you didn't like,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments. You can always send us an email to thewaitingroomjpn@gmail.com.
Yep. Or Instagram, you can check us out at The Waiting Room JPN.
And we
So-
will see you next time
Take
in
it
the
easy.
waiting room. Bye.
night.